Roll call. Chris?
Here.
Julianne? Here. I'm here, and everyone else is absent. Quick side note, Victor, can we make sure we give them access to the shared items? So we have City Office 365 stuff.
Okay.
And so you should be able to get access to go in there. The main thing you'll want is the minutes notebook for reference.
Okay.
So
Sure.
it's a shared notebook. Right now I'm acting secretary as well as chair. If you have interest in being secretary, I'm totally open to that. I don't mind doing both. Sometimes it does bog down the meeting a little bit if I'm getting caught up on notes and we need to do something procedural.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's okay.
Okay.
In the shared drive folder, there are a number of documents that may be of interest just to review historically.
Right.
Some old visitation data from a couple of years back, and then the stuff that we've worked on and off the last couple of years. So we need just some background on the board here, since we probably won't have that much to discuss on our agenda items without Kyle present today. So yeah, roll call. Next up, approving minutes from February 3rd. I guess it's mostly directed at Chris. I don't know if you had a chance to review them, or if you want a motion to approve as they stand.
Never. I make a motion to approve.
All right. So we do the Robert's Rules of Order. Someone who's not the chair has to make a motion, and then we need a second.
And I can second that.
All right, cool. And then all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, minutes are approved from February 3rd. Brings us on to old business. So first up, marketing, advertising, budget discussion. So to catch you up, Luann, we have. How familiar are you with the lodging ordinance as it stands?
I've read it. Let me
Sure.
share my
So you have the broad strokes.
I have the broad strokes.
Right now we have those percentage breakdowns, right?
Which I think
Yeah, go ahead.
are a little skewed. Some of how the lodging tax is allocated.
We agree.
Okay.
Well, it's
So you don't need any copy, you have everything that you need, do you need copies of anything?
No, I have that. I just went on the website.
Yeah, that's really outside our purview, outside of making some type of statement to council. You know, policy is not set by this board, so we have to adhere to it as it stands.
Understand?
The way that it did, so recently hit council, you may have been aware prior to the new council being seated. And they were voting on whether to go ahead and dissolve this board entirely. We did make a collective case not to do so. Main reason being the city does not have marketing and advertising staff, anyone who's expert in that realm.
Right.
And also for some level of citizen oversight. These lodging funds is a bit of a honeypot. A lot of people, I think, it feels like extra money, you know, so we did see some, you know, I'm not going to level any accusations per se in a public meeting at anybody, but there's some debate over, you know, clerk's office spending some of the money on Saturday trial days, for example, that never reached our board or anything like that. And so, yeah, important to remember, that we are advisory board only, which means we can't just do anything without going to council. So all we do is advise. Sometimes that can be a little frustrating. But what we are currently trying to work towards, so we have an ad agency. We scaled them way, way back because collections last year for lodging were significantly below.
And probably going to be this year as well. For starting.
Yeah, and so the plan with Tara was, at Tara's kind of direction, is to switch from a forecasted model where we are, and all of our budgeting comes from the city finance department as well. So we don't set our own top level budget, they say, here's the amount in the fund, and then we have to allocate it according to those percentages in the ordinance.
And we recommend the allocation, we don't actually allocate?
Correct.
Okay, just clarify.
So,
And that goes for every board. Every board has to go through. I mean, arts and culture used to be able to just buy art and,
Right.
they're what they consider art, but council wants more of a role in that as well. So anything
And that's fair.
anything that's purchased or placed that is considered art has to go over the council now. Before I did it, if that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how everything works in practice. Because I know the Main Street Board, for example, they don't really have a budget. We granted them some money last year that these work with, and then they just spent it. So I don't think if they went out to council and said, we're going to spend it on X, Y, Z.
I'm not sure, I don't have anything to do with Main but I think that they have to as well. As well.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure.
wouldn't be surprised. And that's fine.
But we're switching from what kind of budget?
From forecasting,
Forecasting to-
to actually working on the previous year's collections, which is wise. And so with that in mind, overall budget is reduced so we can ideally build a surplus up, and then we can make that switch happen in the next couple of years. So we scaled way back on the ad agency. We were late in the game in terms of renewal timeline. So we kind of got locked in for this year. We did recommend attempting to cancel that contract when we were legally advised that we could not.
Is this an ad agency that's like the one out of Denver or out of?
These folks they're smaller scale and they're based in Buena Vista. And they specialize in destination marketing. They're called Destination IQ. The board opinion is kind of a mixed bag, I would say. And I mean, as you might gather, we did recommend going ahead and canceling that. Some of that was based on their proposal for the reduced budget. We just didn't feel like that was going to bring the value that we wanted. It's $100,000 for this year. They're managing our social media account. That includes paid social advertising, so promoting social posts to followers and non-followers.
And this is the reduced budget.
Under the reduced budget, yeah. But then we still have, out of that portion of the lodging funds for marketing and ad dollars, we still have some remaining for the year. So we're currently working towards purchasing ads in our target markets that would supplement the digital effort.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we've been working on for the last month or two.
Do we have, I haven't seen a budget.
Mhm.
Is that something
I can
that's?
give you a copy.
Yeah, so I was going to run you down on what we have in each of those
Okay.
funds. So and you can reference these in the minutes. The budget discussion happened in our first January meeting. We got those dollar amounts, and yeah, Victor can send them to you for reference too. But the overall fund for 2026 is $480,753. So that means, according to the ordinance breakdown, we have $168,263 for marketing, advertising, and attracting conferences and meetings. So that's our marketing budget, and $100K of that is set aside for agency. So that means our balance is about $68,000 for the year, a little over that. And then there's $96,150 for personnel and expenses related to tourism, including the Welcome Center. That actually has a deficit of about $35K in the current budget. So we don't touch that one anyway. It's not really ours to advise on. Outside of potentially some Welcome Center stuff, but we kind of let them run their own thing over there.
Okay.
144,226 for recreation facilities and programs. So we've yet to dig into that one. Do not know if the city has already identified potential expenditures there, so they haven't talked to us about it. I know Tara mentioned having some ideas around additional events. I do know they're also doing this bocce ball tournament. Do you know that's going out of our fund? My assumption is that it is. Yeah. It would be nice if that stuff did hit our desk. I mean, obviously, it seems like can't.
didn't even know about it until I
Yeah.
saw it.
And this is where we bump into friction with the public in terms of just like oversight. So that's feedback that I received directly from individuals in the city with concern over how the fund is spent. In general, I think the basketball tournament is a cool and fun idea. It's low cost. It's not a big deal. And we want to see more programming for sure. I think in particular youth programming would be a great thing to pull out of this budget. So I have some ideas, and that's supposed to be kind of what we're here for. So we'll get to recreation. Right now we're kind of focused on the marketing and ads, and if we can't get in front of council, this is all a waste of time anyway. So
I have my one-on-one with Tara tomorrow. I will definitely get something that's set in stone as far as you guys being on the agenda.
thank you, yeah, I appreciate that. And if there's reasons she's not doing it, I would love to hear them. If that means I need to come and get a meeting with her, that's fine. But it just feels like I'm getting dodged, and I know that she has a lot on her plate, but
I'll make sure.
Yeah.
That will be my first one-on-one
Cool. Thanks for
discussion tomorrow.
last
It's
two.
it's not very good guys either to be in the middle like that.
Well, what's weird to me is like she's the one who reconvened this board. We were in limbo. Everyone had resigned by this time last year, except Chris and myself. Resigned or being removed is in one case. And so we didn't have enough members, and then she found Kyle, got us together with Chris. Eric raised his hand, and we got back up and running. And that was with a bunch of direct input from Tara. So it's just strange to me that she kind of got this moving again, and then now we're just spinning on wheels. So.
I know that she's probably overwhelmed with requests from new council, but yeah, it's really frustrating, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's it's
because our timing is.
Yeah, it's going to be here, and then we basically get blamed for not doing anything in terms of promotions, So that's just kind of where we're standing. Last two items on the budget: $48,075 for arts and culture, so not a ton there, and then $24,038 for miscellaneous, which we'll probably leave alone, especially considering that deficit of the other piece of the fund. But that's kind of a little in reserve on miscellaneous.
So where would things like support of events, again, and I'm going to assume it's coming out of maybe the marketing, drawing people to, things like, would we support this act, support things like, I don't know, I'm going to just say the Trinidad or this new wellness festival that's coming here that again is designed to, to bring people to Trinidad. I mean, is this something that comes out of that budget? Or is there,
as far as the wellness, they could have applied for our mini grants that we have going on, which is today is the last day.
Yeah, have we got any for first
I got 2.
Okay.
and when you're saying mini grants, talk to me. What does that mean?
We have a pot of $100,000 for grants, and then
that is what we kind of said. So it's $25,000 each quarter. If we don't allocate all of it, it'll roll over.
Right, and so if the Trinidad were going, or if
Yeah. So if you want lodging fund money, we set our grant budget. They apply. It's posted publicly. The application period is in process.
is the deadline today?
For first quarter, so they can apply anytime through the year.
Like the grant, if they applied second quarter, then the grant would be made until end of June.
That's correct.
Just
So that's generally how it works. So then we get all the grant applications, we review them collectively as a board. We have a scoring process with a rubric that's intended to keep us as impartial as possible. And so we kind of take that aggregate score as a launch point, and then we discuss from there. So we may or may not allocate everything that they ask for, especially dealing with budget constraints. And we're always focused on, is it an actual tourism draw is usually one of the highest weighted items versus just a local event.
And I would just have to ask as a newcomer here, sometimes it's really hard to measure if it's like first time for an event, like the wellness. It's a little hard to, to measure what kind of draw that's gonna be. I mean, there's estimates, of course, but.
Well, I think
for a first event, I mean, this is gonna be their first event, so it's gonna be hard to navigate.
And I'm just saying it would be
Yeah.
hard, it would be hard if they were applying program.
Right.
and a lot of times the intent is to give first time events that leg up and ideally they become more self-sustainable moving forward. So we don't have Trinidad situations where the city's propping up a legacy event. Now, I do think there's room for that to support like a tentpole event like that.
Right.
Without a doubt. So lately we've been talking a lot about Fancy Spider being a great potential for that. It was a killer weekend. They haven't officially announced, but I have the inside track that they'll be doing it again. So I mean, we're pretty prepared as a
I
board.
was talking about that this morning. I was talking to Veronica about it, and they said, I don't know, I haven't heard anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're gonna.
That was so great.
Convince themselves. Yeah, so that's something where we'd be willing to probably be a recurring sponsor. But the general philosophy is like, let's keep you up and moving, and then you can work on your own instead of coming back every year. So a lot of times we might reduce for a return event. It kind of depends.
Right.
That's
Sure.
all hopefully worked out in the score. In terms of your question about where it comes from in the budget, I think that we have to be a little creative with that, especially with things like the arts and culture line is pretty low.
Right.
At 48K. So, if it's in, like the Trinidad Arts Fest is also going to be coming back this year. I imagine they'll be applying for grant funding. That grant could come entirely out of that section.
Right.
So we would say we want to take this out of the arts and culture budget. We're giving them 10,000 or whatever. Just examples here.
Sure.
First Friday's coming up next week.
And do we support that?
No, that's all from the
Creative District.
Yeah, Creative
Creative
District.
District sponsored that this year.
Okay.
But they could have.
They could apply.
Yeah.
But then the way things used to work, and this was prior to me joining the board under the previous ordinance, so they didn't have a percentage breakdown. At that time, the grants were specifically meant for promoting your event. So it was all marketing advertising focused. So you would say, here's $2,500 to go buy ads.
Right.
And then you would have to report back saying here's the stuff we purchased. So we do require reports. We try and ask for attendance estimates if they have any data on visitation, like zip code data from credit cards or whatever. And we do include that if they return for future grants in our evaluation. So if they give us a crummy report, they're going to be viewed less favorably. Any other questions on?
No, thank you for that. Thanks for that background.
No, I don't
I know
have to
I'm
mention
probably
this.
slowing things down.
It's all good. Well, like I said, we're not going to be able to cover much today since we're missing folks. So good opportunity to get you covered.
Right.
Be prepared. A lot of times these go a solid 2 hours.
Yeah.
I did mention to Kyle, and we talked about this when we all first were getting together scheduling these meetings. I wanted to get to one a month once we're kind of chugging.
Me too.
I feel like we're close there, but this is the time of year where I feel like we are more likely to need an extra meeting because we want to get everything set for summer visitation. So yeah, she said that might be helpful in terms of keeping her around. For reference, I'll let Kyle fill you in her own background later, but she's comes from journalist realm, so she has a lot of connections in ad purchasing as well as directly with writers and content producers. So good person to try and keep on the board if we can. And that's why a big reason why she was doing a lot of this legwork on getting ads, because she already has a ton of contacts.
That's awesome.
So chugging along here, old business, marketing advertising budget discussion, going through the broad strokes of what we have in terms of budget. So we were going to have an update on ad prices in our target markets from Kyle. We'll punt that to next opportunity, whether she relays those to me or is able to make it in person. For your reference to that, we are looking at, and this is based on historical visitation data, Dallas, Fort Worth, Amarillo, Denver Front Range, and then potentially Albuquerque. What we want to go propose to council is 20,000 towards Texas, 20,000 towards the Front Range, and then $5,000 for what are called fam trips, which is when you wine and dine journalists, basically. So you bring them to town, put them up, show them around.
Right.
So 45K out of that remaining marketing and ad budget is what we'd like to do.
I didn't hear, did you include the Phillips Broadcasting?
Well, that's all ads. So 20, 20, and 5, and then from there we go out and ID what ads we want to buy.
And I mean, and when we're doing ads, where are they placed? Is it radio? Is it?
Yeah, I can forward you this short list that Kyle was pulling together, which is, in this case, so we have a radio proposal from Chris. We're going to cover that next. But we were looking mostly at prints and then potentially a billboard or two. Billboards are really expensive.
You mean what we're currently using now, or what they have planned?
Both would be nice. Yeah.
We don't have any print ads out. We did
I
run.
think we just have some on the Outpost magazine.
Yeah, we
ran.
Ran a couple last year in Western focused magazines. So print is expensive too, and our philosophy as a collective board under the new ordinance, which that's an old board at this point, but we were highly focused on digital, mostly because it's very easy to measure.
You measure your change.
Yeah. The hardest thing with prints is trying to figure out if it did anything. So you drop 5, 10 K on a print ad,
It's there somewhere.
and then it's just off.
Beautiful, thank you.
Those are nice.
And so you're saying billboards are incredibly expensive?
Well,
They can.
I did do some research on billboard for the ad board right at our last meeting, and one board would cost us, if we do it on an annual basis, about 4,000 to 5,000 with production and everything for the year.
That's not too bad.
Now, when I said 8 last time, it was because I had bid for 2, I'm hitting on for 2.
Where is that? That one.
Well,
4K.
this is the one that I got. You can look this over and see others and see what you think. This is the only one that would make sense. Here, this goes with it. It's just this side of Clayton.
So like coming into the border.
You can get a little bit cheaper with the left reading board because it's on this side. Yeah.
Yes.
And they're obviously the best ones are right readers.
Sure.
If we're going to invest that kind of money for just a little bit more, I would recommend a right sider. That doesn't have to be lit because you were really looking at daytime traffic anyway. None of those out there that it's hard to get electricity to.
So have we also considered, looking at some of the, we've got billboards that are coming like directly into town that are actually here. That's why we help that are helping the travelers that are already coming through to help direct them downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some billboards that I know are available. I mean, I don't know the cost, but I bet I can find out too. That's a nice one though.
That's a nice location. Before the original tourism board was demolished, we were one for 2. By the time we went through all the red tape and everything else, trying to do it with the first board, there wasn't anything available on 87 at the time.
Okay.
So we went in and concentrated on south of Raton. And we did get one up. This is the board that we had. And it was allowed to expire into this term.
It's beautiful.
And it says what it needs to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was approved by the original tourism board.
Oh, that is nice.
That
Since
is
it's
great.
been on.
That's very nice. You got these.
Had you ever seen
I haven't seen them. That predates me. Yeah, in terms of these were generally speaking, the I-25, those were ones are most expensive. We're going over the case for ones that are right here, so it's worth looking into without a doubt.
And I think again, I just know that we had something that could direct, start directing people to downtown, start saying the free museum start saying that we have 30 restaurants?
Yeah, just,
I mean, actually, you know, to the amenities, you know, because we need these that are further out, because that's what's gonna draw the tourists, but if they're already on this road,
right,
let's get them back.
exit here, yeah.
Well, the theory I think, and I go back to when I was 10, my family would go up to Manitou Springs because my then brother-in-law and sister were stationed before Carson.
Uh-huh.
And my mom would always say, "Oh, that's true, that's such a cute town, we need to stop there." And my dad would say, "Okay, we go on the way back, it was always dark, we didn't stop." And
You had billboards when you were 10?
Huh?
You had billboards when you were 10?
That's about all they have.
That was dirty, that was dirty.
And they, well, I wasn't talking about billboards when I was 10, I was talking about Trinidad.
Oh, okay, I thought you.
But anyway, to get people to think about it, if they're going out and, oh, you know, I wanted to stop Trinidad, if it was a secondary or tertiary, you know, thought,
Uh-huh.
they're going to Denver, or they're going skiing,
Sure.
or, you know.
And I'm just saying, I think a lot of that happens when we are on prime, because by this time, everyone needs to go to the restroom, everybody needs gas, everyone needs food. You know, if they're coming from, trust me, I drove from Dallas for 3 years, so I know that, this 9.5 hours is like, you know, you guys, you're gonna do a lot of things.
Yeah.
About right here.
Well, some of the things that I propose or, you know, believe in come from the fact that I'm an old man. And I had, you know, decades and decades of traditional marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot being on the sport with the digital. Learned a lot from my daughter. She's into that in Amarillo.
Right.
But there's still room for traditional advertising. And
Absolutely. I think it just has to be a combination of both to be
Yes.
effective.
and that's what we're trying to do here. Our agency only does digital. Maybe some print when they're.
They placed print on our request last year. They also, the trend is definitely what we're talking about. People are returning some traditional outlets for sure.
Sure.
So looking at 4K for that one outside Clayton on Highway 87, that's for 1 year.
A lot of Trinidad businesses advertise those.
And that's before anything's negotiated.
Right. Oh, it is a 1 year term. Is that okay?
Well, yeah, it's about $430 or so a month, plus the production. But you only have production once. If you have a good board, you leave it up all year.
430 plus production. So more like 5 to 6K. But that's, I just figured before
Yeah, I was
negotiating.
basing that estimate on 400, but the one I like is a little bit more expensive. But
Cool.
I've got all this so that y'all can look at any others. You have a better, you know, stronger.
Thanks for looking into that, Chris.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see a few of the other ones just to make sure we evaluate options. If we're gonna, I realistically don't think we could do more than 1 or 2 billboards.
Well, that to me would be the most logical spot coming from Amarillo.
Yeah,
Now, the only exception to that is anybody coming from Albuquerque that is already aware of Trinidad or would be going that way, or they like, okay, Trinidad's just up on the road, or, you know, it's, I mean, psychology is hard.
yeah. Albuquerque is kind of our tertiary, right? It's going to be Texas first, front range, and then if we have more, we'll look to New Mexico. Yeah, I mean, it looks like all the Dallas travelers would probably be coming down that one as well. Dallas forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Good one to keep in mind. Do you want to run through anything you got for radio?
It's just the same thing. I mean, I had made a proposal to, we've been traditionally, ever since I got here, had a schedule with local radio, with Philip Broadcast stations, 3 stations, a country station that's based out of Raton, then the rock station here, the mountain, and then a top radio station. Partially because they are so supportive, you know, is the way the original board was doing it. But there's also, even though that advertising is probably reaching a limited amount of potential tourists, you've got to promote the local events, let them know what's going on, so that our events that we're doing that help to draw other people in are attended.
Absolutely.
Plus, tourism, for our area, we pull from a pretty large area from, Santa Fe up to, Pueblo and around, and that gives us a chance to get all the smaller communities and let them know what we're doing. They're not necessarily going to come and stay in, a hotel and make money, but they add to the success, of our events for quality of life.
And it's not gonna support restaurants and possibly shops and everything, so
Right.
even if it's not hotels.
Right. And I had proposed 6,000. I don't know what that does to the budget. It doesn't have to be that. That's just what we had been doing. So.
Yeah, we had a little discussion around that, mostly in terms of, the potential of splitting radio out to some of our target markets in addition to keeping some of the local. So me personally, I wouldn't want to turn off the local entirely, agree to support them, help amplify whatever tourist stuff we're promoting. But our mission is to get visitation. And so I really want to see us reaching further outwards. And that includes our event support, as we already kind of talked about today too. I mean, it's kind of tricky because, you want town to feel cool and lively. So if there is a visitor and they come downtown, there's something going on, right? So things like the Mount Carmel concert series, it's not really a tourist draw. Maybe it pulls from our surrounding cities a little, in that kind of hour drive radius or whatever. But they're not staying overnight. And if you think, we're not an enterprise obviously, but if you look at that kind of lens, we're trying to grow our revenue, and that means getting heads and beds. So,
Absolutely.
So that to me needs to be like the single core thing that we come back to in any decision making. It doesn't have to override everything else, but it should inform most of our budget decisions for sure. So that's just my 2 cents on where this
It could always be increased later. If we would say instead of the 6, I propose we go with 4. Or something like that, be a little bit easier. The station is very good to the city anyway. We can do interviews anytime, we want to get the mayor on there and I know Tara's been on there, I'm sure Cy has been on too. They're pretty good with their bulletin board and things that they do. I know the city does a little bit with them on their own.
Yeah, they met with them last week. They think they signed some type of agreement for the year, like a $6,000.
Yeah, do you know what they're gonna promote on it or what they're?
I have no idea. I think something trail days and.
Well, see, I don't understand why they would get it to go out and do their own. Is that coming out of our budget?
I'm not
You're
sure.
right, yeah, that sounds like it probably is. And again, I don't expect our board to make call every shot, but it's very silly to have an advisory board over funds when we have no insight into.
Can you find out what that's about and what, because it would affect this.
It would affect our budget.
Yeah, I've been managing that, the local radio, simply because that's the main nucleus of my background. I have a degree in broadcast advertising, but I've been a buyer, and I've sold the radio, and I a copywriter and all that. So and I know how to work with traffic, how to placement, so that you get the most out of your spots. Plus, it's got to be creative. It can't be so many of the stations. The salesman will go out, sell a schedule to a business, and then they go back and they write whatever they can real quick, or they get the job to write it and record it, and they don't have time to put the creativity into it. Well, I do have the time, and I'm used to doing it, so we try to get a little bit creative. Joe had suggested some time ago about getting visitors to do sound bites on. We haven't had a chance to really do that yet because of the time it takes.
Like it was like maybe testimonial.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a.
And I have put, when we were pushing, we had to quietly push for the tax increase, the hotel Mountain tax increase. I had other people that Joe was working with that were more aggressive with it. But I got the mayor on talking about quality of life. And the couple of city managers ago, talking about, what we had. Was supposed to get Marty on, but she never would do it. So, but it's things that we can use. It helps our image. For a while, the city was getting blasted, city employees and stuff, and it helped us to try to help improve their image.
Sure.
Just by talking about this is the city's doing this. But I've been doing it simply because it makes more sense to have somebody managing it and doing it properly than to just throw it through a radio station.
And you have the expertise.
And I've done it for a long time, got to pay a lot of money to do it, and I'm donating pro bono here.
Okay, so radio ad proposals, same as it stood. We'll revisit that when we have our other members. We want to dig further into how we want to spend these, assuming that we can talk to council and they approve our general direction. So yeah, the intent with that 2020 and 5,000, we don't know if it's going to work out this way, but to get approval on spending that money with that structure and then being able to operate with Victor to directly go buy the ads. So my question is, do we have to come to you with every single breakdown and say, here, we're buying this ad for this much, it's running for this long, etc. To me, that's a really efficient use of everybody's time. I could eat up a good chunk of the council meeting if we're going to talk up through every ad and why. Yeah, so hopefully that all works out, but to be determined.
Well, that's why they put quote experts on this board. Should be to handle some of that. Previously with Marty, she was certainly going out and procuring ads, independently of council under her budget. So, yeah, hopefully that's not too much of an issue and we can get some stuff done. Any questions about our general ideas and strategy there?
No, not at all.
Sweet.
Good background, thank you.
So last thing, a couple of things in old business. Social media review is twice, so I'll be on that. Proposal from World Journal and also from Cherry Road Media. I guess we're probably holding on that too, because that would be a portion of our ads there.
So for instance, the summer guide, they will have to apply, what I was told is they will have to apply for a grant in order for that to come out. It can't come out of advertisement. Or
That doesn't make any sense.
other items that it's intended for the budget, they have to apply for like a mini grant.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down with Tara, because that makes no sense at all.
Dude, say that again.
So the summer guide, for instance, when they did a proposal to the board a couple weeks ago, it's not really a legal proposal because they have to apply for a mini grant in order to get the funding from the board.
But we're not supporting, we're buying an ad in the ad.
Since when? Who's making up these rules?
I'm not, that's just what I was told by Tara.
Yeah, I feel like there's a misunderstanding there because we're not supporting their summer guide production directly. We're buying an ad in the summer guide. This is from the World Journal.
Right.
You need to go sit down with her.
Yeah, I agree. I'll see. I mean, she hasn't replied to my emails, so see if I can get into her one way or another. Yeah, because that should just be part of the ad buys. The summer passport, that one's a little bit different. It's it's more of a project that we would elect to.
That's what I was referring to as a passport.
Passport.
Not the summer guide.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
that too. The summer guide would also have to come through.
Yeah, summer guide, that one doesn't make any sense, because that's just an ad, it's buying an ad. The passports, I don't know if you saw those last year.
I did, I
Yeah.
loved it.
So we have a proposal on the table, we have to pretty much decide this month on that. If we wanna do it again, the baseline one was $1,000, I think.
I know when we looked at doing something closely akin to that for the wellness, the wellness festival,
Mm.
that it was several $1,000s, and that we ended up
Oh, yeah.
at like 4,000 to 5,000, I believe.
Yeah, hang on, I can pull it up. We should have that from Lainey. It might have been for 1,000 copies, is what it is, which I think is too much, but that was the minimum
Right.
that they had given us.
Well, and there are digital passports out there that make it even easier to track.
I do think that it is easier to track, but part of the appeal is having
Oh,
a thing,
I agree.
And flipping through
It's cool. I like the
Yeah.
paper.
feels like you're discovering something.
Yes.
So yeah, here I have the quotes here.
A lot of times your kids in the car will be the ones that have it.
So the 1,000 quantity was 4,048
That's what, yeah.
without tax on it.
Yeah.
So that one, I guess I could see a case for pushing it through the grant process. Because they do go out and sell all those spots.
Mhm.
Like Tarantula bought one last year.
You have tarantula.
Yes, yeah, I'm one of the original.
Okay.
So yeah,
I should have put that together.
my background's sorry, the outdoor rec side. Outdoor rec side currently, but I used to be in marketing, business to business, so I'm a good-sized technology firm. A lot of focus on digital efforts there. So that's my board specific connection.
I love this idea, and you're right. I like doing it.
Yeah, that said, I think 1,000 is too many, and I don't know if they're willing to reduce that or not. I haven't gone back to Lee and say I feel like 500 copies is about all we need.
That is so cool.
But yeah, they were looking to get it printed April to be delivered in May.
Mhm.
So we have to make a decision on that pretty imminently. And she'll probably be following up with us here soon as well. So yeah, I guess we have to get some clarity around that. Kind of sounds like resistance to any of our spending proposals to me, even though we haven't committed to any of those things. If we're already hearing that everyone has to go through a grant process, then it sounds like the way the city wants us to be operating right now is as a grant approval board only. So yeah, I think that we just gotta have a chat and find out what exactly we're supposed to be doing here. So yeah, we also had a proposal from the World Journal, which I don't have on hands. Let's see if I have detailed notes on that. So that's the summer guide. They print 10,000 copies. It's distributed kind of in the Tri-County here, like Forest, Angel Fire. We can also encourage us to be pitching stories about tourism and events or any board activities. They'll do coverage. That's obviously not pay to play directly, but
Right.
that's just how all that stuff kind of works. They include digital ads for free, if we agree to any long-term commitments. Ad costs were around $1,000, and that's whether we go summer guide or some of the packages for the paper itself.
Okay.
So not a huge cost there. We can work it into our ad budget if we saw fit. But ideally, to me, the goal is to drill down on our target market ads first and get all that money allocated, because that's kind of what's most vital, and then we can decide on these other items if we have remaining funds. Because I want to hit the visitors.
Absolutely.
So it just feels like right now we're kind of in a hold pattern until we can get some.
When we did the summer passports last year, were we able to quantify, like any return from that? I mean, it's very, those kind of things are very hard, I think.
Yeah, and actually, I don't recall, Chris, did the board directly support those last year, or did that come from the city?
No, they came from CTLTAB.
It came from us. I don't remember voting on
It's hard to keep up with which ones we did.
yeah, that's a big
I
thing.
could be wrong, but I'm 50% sure that they came from CTLTAB.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure either, because I feel like the first time I heard about it was at the shop when they called the
So
city.
you would remember that.
Maybe. Got a lot going on. So we're kind of on hold on budget right now. I'm gonna try and blow up Tara. Victor, thanks for checking in during the meeting with her as well. So we can get some clarity on that. Last thing, social media review process. Did you talk to DIQ at all about that, or figure out how you want us to?
Yeah, I think since they already released the February reels, I think what we'll do is at the next meeting, we'll just sit down and we'll just put all the reels up on the monitor, and then we can just review them then.
Did you have some direct questions you wanted to check with them on?
Well, no, this was regarding the review tool that they have. Yeah, I just feel like it would be a lot more efficient for our Airtable. Yeah, I think it'd be more efficient if we can review it independently, so we don't have to sit, because there's like, between the
I'm gonna
photo and video, there's like 20 posts a
I'm
month.
gonna send Ashley and know real quick.
And we don't need to be in there directly necessarily, it's just as long as the board can see the content one way or another,
Yeah,
and then we'll send you notes. Yeah. So, coming into the upcoming month, they schedule out all the social media, they use a web app called Airtable for a review process, and so that has the date it's going out, the caption, and a link to the content itself. So I have access to that, nobody else does, and that was from a previous, I was working kind of directly with their social media galleries, her name's Ashley. And she'll come to town and do shoots with some regularity, although lately they've been using a lot of old content, and that's fine. The repurposing stuff is hard for the course.
Right.
I did want to point out though, and this is part of why I keep coming back to review, like they had a clip of Sunset Grill featured in one of the previous reels. And so right now we need you to keep your eyes out for that too when you're reviewing. Like, I know it takes time to pain the butt, but right now you're our frontline guy on social, and so just try and catch that stuff and just say, hey, this place is closed. Like, no one could visit.
Hey, let's pull that.
I just asked for access for you guys. We'll see.
Cool.
But I will follow up on those other rules.
So yeah, the more eyes we have on it, the better. Obviously, we want to be efficient with it. So the goal is to give everyone access to that tool. We come into our first meeting of the month having already sent feedback to Victor saying, and from there it's out of our hands. We've provided our input, but catch things like that, like this place is closed or this info isn't correct.
We want to be advertising.
Yeah, and so I think we should resist the urge to be really hands-on in terms of direction there. There's a reason we hired an agency. We all have our own personal preferences for content. That doesn't mean they're the most effective. And so I've heard a lot of feedback from other business owners in town on, like, specifically the reels they've produced, and some good, some bad. Usually bad because that's when you hear from people is when they're not happy. But I try and stress, like, it's not always my favorite content either, but some of it's been pretty effective in terms of reaching large numbers of people.
Right.
And so,
Yeah, it would be nice to have access.
Yeah, it's gotta go back to the data. So that's our vision for social media review. We haven't gotten there yet. Cool. Last thing on the agenda, unless anyone else has anything on socials, is just any update on DIQ activities that you might have, Victor. I don't know if you've been meeting with them.
Yeah, we met with them a couple weeks ago, and so now I have access to get into the analytics, so we can do that if you want to review that at the next meeting.
Are they still using the same deck with the monthly updates?
Yes.
So I still have access to that. If we could just, if the board can be able to view that deck, then we can all see the metrics as they're updated.
Wait, so who has it? You have access
Chris
to that?
should still, but we'll need to get them in there.
I think
For Eric and Kyle.
I think I can add her myself.
Yeah, I will. Just got me as new. Start over again.
So yeah, they have a Google presentation, and they just stack the updates monthly on it, so the newest slides.
Can I do to the
I'm sorry, I
next
don't
one?
know what the
Yeah,
actual is.
just.
That's Station IQ.
That's not you.
So that includes our web visits. Are they still tracking web visits? Yeah. So all our website data for the month, the like month-to-month comparison, so
Right.
some trends, and all the social data as well. So we put tabs on it.
Okay.
And that they usually pull out some highlights to be like, here's 4 posts that performed really well. Maybe listen to 3 guys still on. Cool. So anything, I mean, they're really just doing social right now, right? So, and you're in on the website and feel okay making small changes there?
I was gonna ask you for your help on that,
Yeah.
because like the Sunset Grill is closed, and I still
Still
have
full
their
yeah.
stuff, so I was gonna ask you, shoot you a text to see if you could help me.
Yeah, let's get some time to sit down and go
Okay.
through the website.
Okay, are you free this week or next?
My best days are going to be Monday, Tuesday. That's when the shop's closed.
Okay.
So if we can find a time on one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I could do like small edits as far as like
Mhm.
the comments and stuff, but as far as removing an actual like
Yeah.
businesses that are closed, like Luna's is still on there, the Sunset Grill, we just.
Yeah, I can dig in with you. I'll try to poke around for a little bit, but if we can block off like an hour,
Yeah,
I can sit down and meet with you.
Thank you.
Right now, I'm totally free next Monday, Tuesday. So.
Okay, next Tuesday works, I think Tuesday works for me.
All right. Yeah, shoot me a message.
Okay, I'll shoot you a message.
Cool. So we'll keep checking on that. Yeah, so for now, we're website manager will fall Victor as the version coordinator manager.
Yes.
That.
Yeah. They were previously managing the website for us as well. They did, I don't know if you've seen the new Visit Trinidad website. It's pretty nice. I think they did do a good job. And that was grant funded. Matching grant from the Colorado office of tourism. Cool. Well, that's everything on the agenda outside of any miscellaneous. Anybody has anything? Just see, it's 1 hour today.
Yeah, but that, I mean, 1 hour without a lot of anything controversial or anything, it was really very helpful.
I think at the beginning of the meetings, we'll have to do housekeeping rules by shutting your cell phones off so they don't disrupt the. I'm just giving you a hard time today.
Got it.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
You are, aren't you?
I had that time, just, get an interruption.
I'll get everybody added to, I'll add you to the board, the meetings, I mean the minutes, and then
The web,
the
the
table,
DIQ and
and then set up a time. And then, do you want to add the mini grants to the next meeting? Or what do you want to do?
Yeah, it's closing, so I guess we should probably go ahead.
Two.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
This is the process we set for ourselves, so
Okay.
we'll review them. We don't have to grant them.
Yeah.
We're gonna, and so Will you set those up in a shared?
Yeah, so what we do is we'll add those to a shared, Google, is it Google Drive that we did it last time, or did I?
Yeah, I think I dumped them all in Google Drive for convenience because Eric hasn't been able to get in the city.
Okay, that's right, okay, and then you'll be able to review them,
Okay.
and then at the next meeting, then you would all
Yeah,
discuss.
I will darken your door if I have trouble getting in.
Yes,
I mean, I've been saying it.
Yeah.
The good news about little small town, you can
Just swing by.
win, yeah.
And so that's what I like to, I'll also stand up there in the scoring for that. So review the grant, proceed through the scoring. I'll get all that info to get it condensed ahead of discussion. So I'll have everybody's scores.
Okay?
Which actually, make sure I get your email and cell phone.
Yes.
You haven't done board reports yet, have you?
We did just move on to miscellaneous.
I just to help us be a little familiar with what each one, our basic background is. Joe kind of mentioned a little bit of what he's done. I mentioned a little bit what I've done. I think he mentioned, but Kyle too. But we go a little bit more into depth, like businesses, and then you can tell us, what you've done, and I can brag about myself a little bit.
Yeah, we'll probably let Kyle and Eric speak for themselves at our next meeting. Eric Shepard Mayo is with Main Street Live.
Oh, I know Eric. I mean, I know who he is. Yeah, sure.
And I can tell you what, he did extensive advertising, obviously, marketing for theater and stuff down in Texas. So he's had to put together, promotions and campaigns. So he has, basically buying experience and putting together, promotions. As I said, I for the last 50 years, I've worked in radio. I've worked in tourism. I was executive director of the Texas Panhandle Heritage Foundation, which produces Texas musical drama down in Palo Canyon. Promoted that, for years. I worked with Texas Parks and Wildlife and, helping and doing some consulting for them. My degrees in broadcast advertising, a minor in journalism, which was kind of odd because I'm not a writer other than copy. But that's where I got, nearly all of my experience and everything. So the cyber digital stuff was all new.
Yeah.
And so it was trying to get used to that and remember that everything, goes together. So basically I've done tourism and marketing all my life. So,
Well, that's great
a
background.
little bit of acting, but that is nothing but play. So.
Awesome. How fun.
And we're trying, he's just been a good spokesman, a good friend, taking care of us.
aw, thank you, I love working with you guys. Ish.
Yeah, I can already write down
Ish.
relevant points. So home bike shop over there came out of, did over a decade of business marketing. Most recently director of marketing for a mid-sized IT company, data centers and consulting services. They're actually based out of Cheyenne. So had about a $250,000 to $300,000 budget there that I managed. Very different from this type of marketing in terms of audiences, a lot more like trade show type stuff. But same principles in terms of digital and how to track your efforts and that type of thing. So still, even though I've been out of that game about 4 years now, obviously we still market our business. So I haven't stayed totally on the cutting edge of digital trends, but just trying to at least stay tuned to what's going on there. People act like it changes every year. I really don't think it does.
And I feel just the opposite. I look at it just like about the time I learn something that's something different.
But it usually it's building on something.
Right.
So that you have your cornerstones
Yeah.
that are the same as when you were a kid. There's some of the cornerstones that are gonna be there. Well, so this is a leap of faith for me. I'm a CPA, so I'm an accountant. I have been in the business world, worked at large corporations, so large utilities and hospitals in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I've been in the area about 4.5 years. I've been traveling through Trinidad for since 2019. So getting a little bit familiar with the town. I'm doing a little part-time gig, and I'm sent very part-time at back office at La Quinta, so I'm seeing some of the lodging issues, and again, kind of getting more familiar with what it's going to take to get tourists, heads and beds, you know, to help not only the hotels but our downtown areas. So I did a lot of project management, and I think that's where I felt comfortable and thinking that some of my skills would transfer here. Yeah, so that's it. More than advertising, it's business.
Yeah.
My background.
Well, the accounting is good to have. And,
Yeah.
we've had some general discussion around having a board treasurer to just keep track of the budget as we.
And again, that's gonna be where I can be of help. Well, I hope I can be of help in a lot of areas, but certainly that's my area of expertise.
Now that we're a full board, and we kind of started doing that, you know, working so that each of our expertise come together and we present things as one, so that it's a little easier to get our point across and to, you know, convince people that, you know, we're not spending money willy-nilly, we're trying to do what's best for the city of Trinidad.
And able to present, so no, that's great. Anyway, I'm really excited and certainly hope that I can.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Lend a hand.
Good to have somebody connected to the hoteliers in general. Also, I know there's been some level of friction there between them and the city with the lodging tax increase and whatnot. Personally, I think that there are way bigger trends going on affecting our visitation. I don't think you can point directly at that tax as a major contributor to.
I think it's a contributor, maybe not the only one.
Yeah, sure. It's just like, to me, if you're coming through here, pay an extra $10 on your bill. It's not going to push you to Raton or to Walsenburg. Raton maybe. But even that, yeah, I mean, you'll get an extra 30 minutes of driving.
Right.
When you're ready to crash, you're going to crash. Planning ahead on your visit.
That might make the difference. It's
but Trinidad still has the most to offer out of any of the surrounding areas downtown, and it's up to us to make sure that message gets across. Right? So you got stuff to do here, and not as much in Wilsonburg. No offense to Wilsonburgians who may be watching or me.
I need, on a side note, I do need to provide a list of things to do to the CCI for the CCI conference. So if you all know of any events that are happening in the first week of June, to give them, if you have any, I need like just some more info on events that are happening that week to give the conference people a little.
When in June?
It's going to be the first week. So if there's tours going on, if there's any events that you know of, or.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of individual activities, I don't know if they want to organize like some type of outdoor excursion where it's like, if you want to join, come on this hike. So we can point them in the right direction if you want to connect in with me or somebody else.
Yeah.
Say here's an easy hike or it's a hard hike.
Or kayaking.
Well, yeah.
That's always, to me, that's a draw.
Yeah, Trinidad Kayak Company.
Even if we could get them to stay just a couple more days, if they're just.
Or come in a little early, because the wellness festival was the weekend before.
What is?
The wellness festival
Oh, that's right.
is the weekend before, and again, there's going to be a lot of events scheduled for that.
I mean, we have our calendar up on the website, but you know anything that's
On the city's website.
on our Visit Trinidad website. And then we also just put in an RFP for the DCI conference, which we're bringing around 300 people as well. So, My first RFP, so I'm so excited.
Yes. That's
Well,
awesome.
You know, part of the board's mission is the conferences to truly support on that stuff. Let us know, even if it's just proofreading,
Okay, I love
that
that.
type of thing.
Okay.
Because we are supposed to be driving conferences and other events like that. So, cool. Well, unless anyone has any other miscellaneous items, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Find out if that information on the radio that's I bought, if it is refund or what was.
I will.
You know,
And it may just be around Cemetery Trail Days or something.
I'm not sure, but I will find out exactly if it's for the whole entire year, but I'll definitely.
just, if not, just so we can answer questions.
Second to adjourn.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I forgot.
Aye. All right, adjourn 10:13. Thanks, everybody.
Do you want to pick your number?
Yeah.